Hello guys, my name is Luca from AudioTribe YouTube channel, and in this video we will make a cross comparison review between one of the smallest party speakers from Sony versus one of the biggest party speakers from Sony. This is the Sony XV500 and this is the Sony XV900. First, let's see the specs. So the Sony XV500 has two 5.5-inch squared woofers and two tweeters. This is the buttons input interface, and this is the inputs that we can find on the back of the speakers. Of course, as you see, it doesn't have lights on the speakers, similar with the JBL speakers, and I find it more impressive how JBL looks compared to the Sony design. But you know, this is just a subjective opinion. Now, this is the Sony XV900. So compared to the two 5.5-inch woofers that Sony XV500 has, the Sony XV900 has one 12.5-inch woofer, two mid speakers, two tweeters on the front, 3, 4, 5 and 6 tweeters in total for an omnidirectional sound. So you should definitely feel that the sound will cover you from all directions. Now, this is the button interface. It looks very modern. I really love the lights, and these are the inputs on the back of the speaker. So even if both have an internal battery that lasts up to 25 hours of playing time, I have connected both to the power source because I want the full power of the speakers. Now we're gonna do the loudness test at the maximum level of sound.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around, I feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't need shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that clown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't no place, so this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
And that was the sound test with the small Sony XV500. As you saw, it sounds very good, but of course it is just for a small room just like this. For an outdoor party it is just not enough. Of course, in my opinion, the sound, it is not that balanced between the bass and the highs. The highs, I find them to be very loud, while the bass, it is weak. So the sound, it is not amazing. Of course, as you see in the back, we have the 120 and the JBL Party Box 320, but compared to the LG X-Boom XL5S, the Sony speaker, it is a lot weaker. The LG, it is much better. So now let's see how the Sony XV900 will do compared to the small Sony XV500.
Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around, I feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't no place, so this my sound. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now.
losing it. The noose, if it's some lucid shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh!
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And that was the sound test with the Sony XV900. As you see in this video, it was definitely that the Sony speaker sounds much better. The sound, it is very balanced between the mids, the bass and the highs. You know, the sound is very important, not only loudness, not only bass. It's very important for the sound to be balanced. So it was clearly that the Sony XV900, the sound was much more intense. Of course, at loudness it is not that loud compared to the small Sony, but the intensity was much better. You can definitely do an indoor or an outdoor party with the big Sony speaker, while with the Sony XV500 you can only do a small party indoors, because outdoors the sound will be not that powerful. So I really love the sound that comes from the Sony XV900, and it is okay, the sound that comes from the Sony XV500, but it is not that balanced. Now we're gonna do a bass test to see which goes lower in frequency, and of course which is stronger, because this has two 5.5 inch woofers and this has one 12.5 inch subwoofer. First will be the Sony XV900. Okay, that was the bass test. As you saw, I put a low frequency tone that goes from 100 Hz to 5 Hz to see how low the woofer gets. I don't recommend you to do this kind of test, because now this woofer is smelling like something is burning, but of course it is the glue from the coils. As you see, the woofer, it is very strong. The sweet spot on this woofer, it is between 90 and 55 Hz. Under 50 to 55 Hz the bass is very weak, and at 35 I can't feel it anymore. So it is very good over 55 Hz. Now let's see how the Sony XV500 will do with the bass test. So similar with the Sony XV900, the Sony XV500 under 55 Hz it doesn't have strength anymore, but you can definitely feel the bass between 90 and 65. Under 65 it became too weak to take into consideration. So This how a Sony woofer sounds. All under 50 are not that powerful. The JBL goes lower, and I really love how the sound that comes from the woofer comes from the LG speakers, the new LG speakers, not the old ones. So I can definitely tell you this: the small Sony XV500 cost $400. The Sony XV900 cost $800. So the difference in price is twice as much more expensive, but it is worth buying one small party speaker, one big party speaker, or two small party speakers, and place it in opposite corners of the room. I can definitely tell you this: both are very loud, but not the loudness it is the most important. The intensity of the sound, how the speakers fill the room with sound, it is very important. Not for the sound to be very loud and the ears to hurt, because this is not a siren, you know. You need a very good sound quality. You need the sound to be very intense. You need the sound to fill the room or the space you are, even if you are indoors or outdoors. And even if it is loud, of course the intensity will be much better when you have much more tweeters, when you have the mid speakers, when we have the big subwoofer. So both are loud, but as sound quality, as sound intensity, as sound everything, this will be much better, and I bet this will be much better than two small Sony XV500, because the bigger the woofer, I can definitely tell you, the bigger the bass. You can definitely put 6 or even 8, but I bet they will be not that powerful as one big woofer. So yes, it is worth buying a small party speaker because it is cheap, but if you want to impress your friends, if you want to impress yourself with the sound, just go for a big party speaker, because it will be much better. But take into account the JBL Party Box 320, that it is not that big, but it can gives you bass, it gives you intensity, it gives you highs at almost this size. So yes, this sounds amazing, this sounds good. Both are loud, but I can definitely recommend you to buy the Sony XV900 and don't buy the Sony XV500. But I am very curious, what is your opinion? Feel free to subscribe to AudioTribe YouTube channel, and please hit that like button. Cheers.